Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conclusion or the rest of the meeting of March 28th, 2018. I'd like to all stand with me. Second pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Motion, please. So moved. So moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Mills, ordinance for Trudeau.
Yes, Mayor, I'm going to ask Mr. Quinn to introduce our guest speaker this evening to address ordinances 9-18 and 10-18 before you introduce them, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mayor. With us tonight is Mr. Ed Purcell of Bateman Cousin Law Firm. Ed is our telecommunications counsel, and using his expertise to discuss these ordinances that are for your consideration tonight, primarily dealing with the quote-unquote 5G technology and the impact that has. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. So, there's two ordinances for you tonight, ordinance 0918 and ordinance 1018. I'll take them one at a time. As far as ordinance 0918, the purpose of that ordinance is to provide some mechanism, a citing mechanism to have the township cite and control the placement of small cells in the right-of-way. As some of you may know, there's been a rush across a number of municipalities in New Jersey to place essentially they're small cell towers in the right-of-way. Verizon, among others, have been requesting these to be placed in the right-of-way. Essentially, what this ordinance does is create a siting system to allow for the placement of these onto existing poles, and then also deals with the siting of new poles which may be required, and also the placement of ground-level wireless cabinets near existing poles. As for ordinance 10-18, that's more of just a housekeeping ordinance. The FCC a number of years ago passed an order which limits somewhat the ability of municipalities to reject certain co-locations for wireless facilities. And this ordinance clarifies your ordinance book so that it complies with the FCC order of 2013. So that's a thumbnail sketch of where we are. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Just to let you talk a little bit further, as I understand it, the ordinance has kind of a split vehicle for dealing with residential or commercial.
Right. So the way this would work is that the ordinance differentiates, ordinance 0918 differentiates between residential areas and non-residential areas. As written, in residential areas, the placement of ground-level wireless cabinets and new wireless poles is prohibited. In non-residential areas, it is a conditional use, and there's a number of conditions that attach. Again, the purpose is to effectuate a system where the township allows these facilities into the right-of-way, so it's not standing in the way of the ability of these companies to come in and to give the residents of the township 5G wireless technology, but to be done in a way which protects the right-of-way management interests, the safety interests, and the aesthetic interests of the township.
Thank you. I don't know if any of the other committee members have questions for Ed.
Not at this time.
I'll move 918, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, and that, let me read it by title. An ordinance of the Township of Morris County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 95 zoning, adding a new Article 12 entitled Small Cell Equipment, Wireless Cabinets, and Wireless Poles in the Municipal Right-of-Way. It'll be final, second reading, public hearing, final consideration on May 16th of this year at the Municipal Building at 7 o'clock.
I'll move it again.
Second.
Sorry.
Can I just clarify one thing? Did you say the second read was April or May?
May.
May.
May 16th.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes.
Also, for second reading, final consideration on May 16th is 10-18, an ordinance of Township of Morris, amending and supplementing chapter 95, entitled zoning by adding a new article, chapter 13, entitled co-location onto existing towers and base stations.
I'll move 1018.
Moved, seconded.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes.
Mayor, we can probably excuse Mr. Purcell if,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
next we have 11-18, entitled amending chapter 118, article 2, entitled special law enforcement officers. That will be further considered at a meeting on April 18th.
Okay. Motion, please.
So.
And a second? Question 1, 2, 3.
It adds the class 3 officers, yes.
We do roll call. Yeah. Okay. Roll call. We have a second? Roll call, please.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Abstain.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Can I just make one point? In the agenda, it says that the public hearings on 9/18 and 10/18 are in April, but we changed it to May.
Yes.
That's my fault, I didn't advise Mr. Miller that date would be May.
Okay.
We purposely put it that way.
Need a little more time.
Right.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mills, 12-18.
An ordinance of the Township of Morris, Morris County, New Jersey, concerning salaries for non-union personnel, police, April 18th of this year for second reading.
Offer, please.
So.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
13-18, calendar year 2018 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and establish a cap bank pursuant to statute, and that would be returnable May 16th of this year.
I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes.
Public hearing, Mayor, I'd ask you open for public hearing and comment number ordinance 5-18, amending chapter 57, section 29A, entitled fee schedule.
Would anyone from the public care to be heard on ordinance number 518? Seeing no one, I'll close the public portion. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes.
That was to close and adopt, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay. Ordinance 6-18, also for public hearing. Ordinance of the Township of Morris, Morris County, New Jersey, concerning salaries for non-union personnel. Public hearing.
Yeah, 518, he has to read the notice. for
Oh, I'm sorry.
518.
Yeah, okay. I, Peter Mancuso, Mayor, declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed, approve the same and direct the clerk publish proper notice thereof in the newspaper and to record the ordinance in the proper place. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Actually, I got you out of order. I
Okay.
apologize. So you're now looking at 6-18.
Now we have, all right. Would anyone from the public care to be heard on ordinance number 618? Seeing no one, I'll close the public portion. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes. All right.
This time I'll wait.
I, Peter Mancuso, Mayor, declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed, approve the same and directed the clerk publish proper notice thereof in the newspaper and to record the ordinance in the proper place.
Lastly, Mayor, and similarly for public hearing, 7-18, ordinance of the Township of Morris, New Jersey, concerning salaries for non-union personnel, fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Anybody care to be heard on ordinance number 718? Seeing no one from the public, I need a motion.
So moved.
And seconded,
Second.
and roll call.
Mr. Arnett.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Abstain.
Mayor Mancuso.
Yes. I, Peter Mancuso, Mayor, declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed, approve the same and directed the clerk publish proper notice thereof in the newspaper and to record the ordinance in its proper place. Okay, Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Mayor. On the dais here in your green folders are all of the budget documents. On the master budget document, I'm referring to page number 2 for the introduction of the 2018 municipal budget, which reads as follows. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall be constitute the municipal budget for the year 2018. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the next available edition of the Morris County Daily Record. The governing body of the Township of Morris does hereby approve the following as the budget for the year 2018. And I would ask Mrs. Emilio for a roll call.
Mr. Arvanites?
We need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion first.
All right, I'll move it. Move there.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Arvanites?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Sisler?
Yes.
Mr. Nine?
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso?
Okay.
I'm not done.
Okay.
One more paragraph. Notice is hereby given that the public hearing and final consideration of the 2018 budget and tax resolution by the Mayor and Township Committee will be held on May 16, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Morris Township Municipal Building, 50 Woodland Avenue, at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2018 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested persons. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now resolutions. Resolutions number 5818 to 7118. Someone offer them, please.
I'll move.
Seconded.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Arvanites?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Sisler?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso?
Yes. Okay. Okay, we come to the portion of the meeting for public comment and inquiry. Ask you to spend no more than 5 minutes, and any thoughts or ideas you'd like to share with us or ask questions, please come forward.
Lee Goldberg, 10 Arrowhead Road. On the resolutions on tonight's agenda, 07-18, rescinding the award for the work on the fire department bay doors. Is that being rescinded because the work's no longer needed or not being done, or is that going back out to bid, or?
It will be going out for formal proposals. The award required them to pay prevailing wage. When they bid on it, they didn't realize that, and once they got the award, they realized that they could not fulfill the contract, so it's being rescinded.
Thank you. The gentleman that was here earlier that presented, I guess, the telecommunications, I believe he was attorney, is how he was announced. Will he be back at the May 18th meeting, or the meeting in May, to answer questions?
He will.
He will, thank you. Regarding the recent ordinance on the COA, increase in the COA units at the Colgate-Palmolive property, are those being paid for by the township, those additional units? Are those being paid, who's paying for those? Is that being paid for by the developer, or how does the financing?
Developer.
The developer is 100% paying for those units?
100%.
Thank you. Any update on the issue that I was informed at the prior meetings that would be coming to closure shortly on the access road to Menon Arena?
Been resolved.
And what is the resolution?
I'm sorry?
And what was resolved? I know there was some conflict between the Parks Commission.
Right, they're going to build the road, and it'll become a public roadway, and there'll be access to both the residential and the commercial portion off of that.
They're going to build a new road, is that what?
No,
They're going to expand it and make it into a public roadway.
the road that's contiguous to
It
Menon.
requires a little bit of a realignment. So it's basically the same road.
The same road.
Yeah, with the traffic signal.
You know, be a traffic signal at the end.
And then, will that road then, the domain over that road will be the township's domain versus the Parks Commission?
Yes.
Yes?
It was neither or.
Or the county?
Okay.
No, the township, it'll be a township.
It'll be a township road.
We, Morris Township, will take over.
Right.
So,
Okay, thank you very much. And then the last question I have is regarding, I was at a Parks and Rec meeting, I guess about 2 months ago, where there was a good conversation between the residents of Collinsville and Mr. Falsh and his team, where some playground equipment was displayed to the folks of the immediate neighborhood. I believe there was some pushback from them on what they envision being done with the Collinsville playground, but it's my understanding from that conversation that we've already purchased the equipment, so we're in receipt of that playground equipment currently, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that going to be, is the plan to go ahead and install that equipment, or that's still to be determined?
We will be installing that.
You will be installing that equipment. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else from the public care to be heard? If not, we'll close the public session. The consent calendar and matters received for the record. As circulated, all in favor? Aye. Commentary by Township Committee on Township matters. Mr. Arvanites.
First of all, I'd like to thank Public Safety and the Public Works Department for doing a tremendous job at keeping our streets clean and safe for our community. Second, I'd like to remind everyone to start getting ready to sign up for pool memberships. How are we doing on membership so far?
Been very busy this week, huh?
Good. So let's keep that going and see if we can do better than we did last year. With regard to the budget that we introduced today, I would like to thank the whole committee that we were able to work together. There was a presentation that I made of the budget for at our last meeting. There was a presentation done to come in with a zero, and we were able to come in with a budget that lowers taxes for all of our residents. And if it goes through at our May meeting, there'll be a savings of roughly $45 per home. So I believe this is the first step in moving towards providing tax relief to our residents, and I thank everybody for their work on the budget. Also, I hope everyone has a good holiday coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Ms. Wilson?
Thank you. It's hard to believe how much has happened in the last month since we met. A couple of things stand out to me. One is the 4 nor'easters that we had, along with 2 storms that at some points in time, thousands of our residents were without power, including me. I was without power myself for 5 days, and on the day the power came back, my house was at 39 degrees. So it did kind of remind me of Sandy, and what I wanted after Sandy was similar to this. I was really interested in bringing stakeholders together for a debrief of what happened, not for the purpose of having a complaint session, but rather for the purpose of reflecting on what happened and learning from it. And I'm very happy to know from talking with Mayor Mancuso this evening that that will be coming. I think he's going to be talking a little bit about that further in your comments, right? And so I'm really glad to see that. I do tie that with my 30 years of experience as an educator. You know, part of learning is when something happens, you reflect on it, and that's a key way that you learn from it. And in these complex situations like we just went through, there's multiple stakeholders. It's important to bring the parties together and have an opportunity for an exchange of information, asking questions, offering suggestions, and that's a way of promoting learning from the past so that things can improve in the future. And I'm really glad to know that's going to happen. And I just want to make one little comment about our breakfast on March 18th. I was very, that was very moving to me, the fireman's breakfast on March 18th. There was an opportunity, Mayor Mancuso, myself, and Committeeman Sisler went to this event. It started with the church service at St. Virgil's. I found that very memorable and moving. And the same thing with the breakfast. There was a keynote speaker, and his theme in his speech was encouraging everyone there to view your experiences as an opportunity for learning. And he was talking about how every fire is an opportunity for learning. And I really connected with that because it was just a few days after I had gotten my power back. And it resonated with me to hear that same message in another setting. So I look forward to some of Mayor Mancuso's comments this evening. And that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Nunn?
Not much, I echoes John's sentiments about working together on the budget. I think sometimes people see R and the Republican Democrat and they don't realize that when we actually go back to do the work on some of these things like the budget, it's irrelevant that John's a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and we were able to work together and compromise, and like John said, actually reduce taxes again. So the past several years we've either reduced or come in flat, and we're reducing again. And I think we're probably one of the few municipalities that is able to do that. So.
Mr. Sisto?
Thanks, Mayor. With regard to some updates for our town, there is no recycling on Good Friday, so if you do recycle this Friday, there will be no recycling. It will be the following Friday. If you have branches and trees and things that have come down from the storm, the Department of Public Works will be collecting those. It's going to take a while. Obviously, we have a tremendous amount of cleanup that is to be done. But there is, Mr. Eschman, the head of our Department of Public Works, has put out a messenger to talk about that. He does have a letter that has gone out as well to discuss branches and tree pickup and debris pickup. So I wanted to bring that to the public's attention. There are restrictions on what you can put out in terms of diameter and how lengthy they can be, so things have to be cut. So if you're a member of the public and need to do that, make sure that you take a look at Mr. Eschman's information. It's on our website. I wanted to discuss briefly, there is, for anyone who's interested, the appropriate body that will be discussing Jersey Central Power and Light and the Nor'easter outages and the investigation into the utility companies handling of those outages is the Board of Public Utilities. They are having a meeting on April the 12th in Parsippany at the Town Hall from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's April the 12th at the Parsippany Town Hall, 4 to 7 p.m. There's also a meeting, and I don't have the time, but there is a meeting on April the 5th at the Byram Intermediate School. If you work or closer to Sussex County during the day, I'm sure that probably will be in the 4 to 7 p.m. range as well, but that's April 5th at the Byram Intermediate School. There'll be 3 meetings held in Bergen County, those dates and times to be named, as well as one in southern New Jersey at a later date. I attended this past weekend, which was a lot of fun. The fire department, Fairchild, and Woodland had Easter egg hunts, and we had probably in the neighborhood of 100 to 120 kids come out between the 2 fire departments to do their Easter egg hunt. We didn't do it outside because it was a little muddy, and I think the parents probably would have been really ticked off at our fire department if they had the kids run around in the mud. But they cleared the bays, and the kids ran around and got some good candy. And there was no 45-year-old division, so I didn't get it. This past week I went to the Interfaith Food Pantry. They had the Giving Tree celebration. They wanted to thank Morris Township because Interfaith Food Pantry is in Morris Township. They are doing yeoman's work in terms of feeding the hungry, not just in Morris Township, but all over the county. They do tremendous work in terms of now with fresh produce, which they have these incredible bins and incredible refrigeration areas for people to come with a lot of our local farmers bringing produce there to hand out to those who are in need. So hats off to the Interfaith Food Pantry. I did want to read a letter, a brief letter that I'm sending to Mayor Doherty and Mayor Mancuso to discuss some of the damage that was done and some public safety issues that I saw, and I'll just read the letter. After touring Morris Township the past few weeks to witness firsthand the damage done by the nor'easters, particularly Winter Storm Riley and Winter Storm Quinn, it has come to my attention that we have a serious safety hazard that concerns both Morris Township and Morristown. As you are well aware, these storms uprooted and downed many trees, taking out power lines that caused numerous road closures, extended power outages, and damages to homes, vehicles, land, and other property. While traveling throughout the township, I was particularly struck by the problem of many dead trees in the Burnham Park area that are close to the roadways that include Morristown. I spoke with several residents in the area, and they were concerned about the safety as well as their neighbors' safety. It was particularly disconcerting when I witnessed two mothers who were walking along Burnham Parkway the Sunday after Winter Storm Riley. They're coming from East Lake Boulevard, Ferndale direction towards Route 24. One young mother was walking with her child in a stroller. The other was carrying an infant in a Baby Bjorn-style carrier. They walked on the roadway under dead and dying trees that had the potential to fall at any moment. I would request your attention to this dangerous situation and ask to have an immediate assessment of the Burnham Park area by your tree maintenance supervisors. There are many fallen trees and branches already strewn about, cluttering the common areas, as well as trees that are either need trimming or removal for safety reasons. Many residents have explained that these common areas have been unsightly for many years and now have become a serious safety concern. With spring approaching and the anticipated increase in pedestrian traffic, I would ask that you expedite an assessment and develop a plan to ensure the safety of our residents. Because of the proximity of our two municipalities, it is important to have a collaborative effort on this issue to assist all of our citizens. Thank you for your consideration. As you know, as I know, you will both agree that public safety is our #1 concern. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Before I start, I'd like to ask Mr. Quinn to give us a little update on how they're going to pick up the debris and the brush, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you, Mayor. As we put out, there are a number of trees, brush, and limbs and those kinds of things that came down both on public property and private property. Similar to previous major storms that we've had, such as the nor'easter that came over Halloween, Hurricane Sandy, the microburst 2 years ago, with a lot of devastation of the trees. We asked the residents we will bring them to the curb. They need to be in approximately 4-foot sections and approximately 6 inches in diameter is what we can take for the removal. We are unable to just take them to a landfill. As we did in past years, we have to find temporary disposal sites, which we're currently working on right now. Once we have those established, then we need to get permits from the NJDEP for those temporary disposal sites. All of the brush will then be picked up by our Department of Public Works from the curbs. It will be brought to those sites, at which time we will then be running tub grinders to chip it into small wood chips, which then can be available to residents if they wish them. Or more importantly, then we can take them and dispose of them at the landfills in the proper manner. So it's a project that will probably take a good 4 to 6 months to complete. We do expect to have all the brush removed from the curbs over the next 2 months as part of that. And now that the weather is getting bad and hopefully a little bit more snow, we can kind of kick that into full gear during the month of April and get it all picked up during April and May, and then we'll move forward for the proper disposal of the brush.
Thank you, sir. And just like to mention, ancillary to that, the spectacular job that our departments did here, DPW, et cetera, to pick up what they've done and to help get our streets open and to clear the snow. It was an Herculean task, so I was very, very proud of that. Starting on April 25th, on the 4th Wednesday of every month, we're going to open up one of our little conference rooms for what we used to call Captain's Mass back in the day when we were in the service. We'll have a committee man or two, committee person or two here to hear any of the residents' thoughts and complaints and ideas and stuff like that. So we're going to try that starting on the 25th of April, and we'll do it once a month, okay? What else? We got a call that contact we made from the governor's office on the texting while driving. They seem to have been very, very confident and happy to give us a call. So I got a call from the governor's office literally every day about what's happening in Morris Township and did they need any help. And of course, we were on the line, Tim and I, and a couple of times Committeewoman Wilson, with the JCP&L giving their 1 o'clock briefing every day. So I was at a luncheon today over at the Parks and Boy that was given by the Chamber of Commerce, and many of the executives from JCP&L were there, and we expect, hopefully, on the meeting of the 21st, that we will have a debriefing and carry it, we'll publicize it, have the public come in and ask questions, and obviously we'll be asking questions too. Basically, that's it. I'd like to wish you all a very, very happy Easter and a blessed Passover.
I have a question. On Greek Good Friday, are
Okay, there you
are
go.
they doing recycling? Just the follow.
All right, consideration of monthly reports circulated, claims for payment. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Ms. Armenides?
Yes.
Mrs. Tyson?
Yes.
Mr. Sisler? Mr. Nunn? Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Mancuso?
Yeah. That's a total of $6,462,939.57. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.